everyone, it's Linda Marie Colon, your host for Making It Artisan Stories. I'm here with Adila Khan from the Art of Henna, and I'm getting my very first henna application, and we're going to learn a little bit about the art of henna, how it's made, the differences between commercial grade and homemade, and all the different services that you can get with henna and some of the artistry background from Adila. I guess we're going to get started. The first thing I wanted to ask you is, what is the first step?
The first step of getting henna, I wipe it down with the alcohol wipe to kind of takes all the oils out, any kind of makeup. That will give me a clean slate. I need a good canvas, like clean canvas, where I can
my
do
hand
the
is going to
stain.
be the canvas. While you're working on me, I'm going to ask you some questions, and then we can share with our audience all the background, the ethnicity, how you become an amazing henna artist, what's behind it, the business you've started, of your passion for henna, and then tell us where henna's used and what types of clients you have. So just a little bit of background about yourself, your ethnicity, and have anything to do with henna?
I was born in Pakistan. I came to US when I was 15 years old. Henna was part of the culture growing up.
Okay.
It really represents all the happy events. Mostly people know that about in weddings, especially like bridal. That's a very big tradition. You must have henna as a bride.
It's a requirement.
It's almost a requirement, yes.
And when does that take place?
There are many steps of the ceremonies. There are 4 different events basically, and one particular event is called Henna Night. That's
Henna
when
Night.
we apply henna for guests and for the brides. Usually it happens at 2 days before wedding. So by the 2 days later, the henna stain is fully developed. It's dark. It's popping out.
You need like a good 48 hours for
Yes.
it to show its true color and kind of set.
Yes, the
So-
natural henna, I mean, it oxidizes. The stain takes some time to develop. One reason you have to let it sit on your skin for a little bit. What it does is basically stain the first layer of your skin, and the way it fades away is the natural way your skin regenerates. And you know, if you want to take it off faster, you can exfoliate more. But if you want to leave it on longer, you know, you want the stain to last longer. That's one thing you want to avoid. You want to avoid exfoliating. You don't want to wash your hands as often. So just for it to last much longer.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about getting into the henna artistry business based on doing this at home, I assume, doing this for family members, occasions that come up. Is that where you got your practice from and then parlayed it into a business?
It never left me, the art. I mean, I had this passion for art growing up. I mean, I was always artistic. I would say ever since I learned how to hold a pencil, that's when I kind of figure out that I can draw. I can draw anything.
So illustration comes first and it comes naturally to you.
Exactly. But holding a cone is much different than holding a pencil.
So that's called a henna
took-
cone.
That calls a henna cone, yes. I think when I start any kind of henna design, it comes with the sketching most of the time, especially if there's something personalized that I'm making for a bride or anybody who wants more customized. It starts with a sketch and then we go over, make the design out of it.
Should we get started?
Sure. I can start with like traditional, what they call it, henna strip, basically.
sure.
It goes down. This is something typical.
So I got to hold very still.
You have to hold very still. You can breathe, but you can hold still.
So this is almost like a tattoo artist.
But more like decorating a cake.
Oh, like decorating a cake. Okay.
This is like frosting.
Now I can smell what to me smells like essential oils emanating from that henna cone. So what all is included for ingredients? And you make this yourself, or is this something that comes out of a tube, or how exactly are you getting the henna?
No, I do mix this henna myself because offering the natural product is really important for me. Henna is perishable. It does not have shelf life. So anything you see outside selling on the stores, sitting on the shelf, there should be some kind of preservatives in there.
Ah.
My ingredients, I always list it loud and proud. There should be like very minimal ingredients, just the henna powder, sugar, distilled water, and some essential oils like lavender and eucalyptus are the two of my favorite that I mix. That's it. There's really
That's it. A handful of ingredients
exactly
mixed together, all natural.
and sugar is added just so it just sticks to your skin. Basically, that's the purpose of the sugar.
Okay, that was my next question, is how do you get this to stay on? This has to be kept, I would assume, in the freezer if there are no preservatives?
Yes, it has to be kept in the freezer as soon as it's done. Even the mixing part is a process. It takes a while for it to dye release. Like when I mix henna, it takes some step. I mix it, then I have to let it sit for a while, then I go back to it, mix it again. It takes about, I would say 6 to 7 hours depending on the temperature. And I have to keep checking for the dye release. A lot of time I usually use it on my palm. That's where you see different spots.
Oh, so you're kind of testing it. I do
test
see that.
it, yep.
Okay, so you're kind of testing it to see when it's...
Exactly. So that's important. And once I have that dye release, I usually have those applicators, which I call henna cones. I have those ready. I fill them up and then I freeze them. I try to make small batches at a time. I would like to have the fresh henna offered like for each festival, for each occasion. Again, it took me a while to get a hold of like how I want to make it. The consistency, it took me a while where I want it to be. But eventually I got it.
You went from illustrating as a young woman in school and then took it to cultural family outings and transferred it to henna artistry.
Yes.
And then from there, wait, I think there was a little bit of time you went off and became a nurse.
Yes.
So you have
Life
another
happened.
profession.
I do have another profession, and I feel very blessed. I mean, there are two, professions that I love. I'm more of a people person. I need to be around people. I mean, when I moved here from Virginia, nursing was one thing that I also was looking into getting. Again, in the culture that I brought up, and like in Pakistan, henna is really not a career. It's more of a culture and tradition thing, but you don't really see making a career out of it. So that really never crossed my mind that I would ever.
So to be a professional henna artist is really just something you do on the side. It's not really looked at as a career.
Exactly.
So is that why nursing became?
Yes, and oftentimes it's still when somebody, especially from my culture, they ask me what I do, and I tell them, when I'm doing henna, and they ask me like if I do something else, I was like, okay, I'm a nurse. They ask me, okay, so this is your hobby. It's like, no, this is my business too. This is as a career too. So it's not really seen as a career.
You've created a business out of it,
yes,
despite it not really being a career. But it's pretty lucrative, and I think that you've somehow managed to marry the nurse career with the ability to apply henna. Can you tell us a little bit more on how you've brought henna to your patients?
It actually all started with one patient. I work at Yale New Haven Hospital, and I had my rotation into Smilo Cancer Hospital. One of the patient over there saw henna on my hand and asked me she knew about what henna is, and she showed some interest, and she asked me, I wish I could have it done. This is something make me happy looking at the design. That kind of gave me an idea into this business. I started offering henna crowns for cancer patients who are women who lost their hair because of chemo.
So a henna crown in lieu of a wig.
Yes.
A decorative way, a therapeutic way of feeling pretty good when you don't feel pretty good.
Exactly. And I really believe in art therapy, and I feel the henna is very therapeutic, the whole process. And oftentimes those patients, they get to tell their stories in the form of henna crown. I usually meet them or at least talk to them over the email or over the phone. I ask them about their inspirations, and they get to tell me about their life story, things that are important to them, something they want to show in their crown. One client actually told me that I love the fact that somebody is looking at my art, not my bald head.
I see. Okay, so it's therapeutic for both the artist and for the recipient.
Exactly.
And it's a decorative way of living their lives without hair. It's okay. And in addition, they have what you call a henna crown.
Yes.
And about how long does something like that take?
Henna crown takes anywhere from hour to 2.5 hours, depending on the intricacy or how much they want to show, how much detail it is.
And then based on conversations before you even get started, you find ways to illustrate their journey.
Yes, I do make some sketches so they have some idea of what they're getting. They, the inspiration, then sometimes they're like, okay, I'll add this, I'll take out that, this one I wanted to. So they have some, of course, I want them to give control of what they want on their art.
Mm-hmm. Rather so almost like a draft before you get started. And like then once they agree on the design,
yes,
you meet and you set to work.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very, not just the henna itself. The whole process, the conversation we have. It's not about just applying this. The whole, time we chat, and I feel that's why it takes longer, like 2 hours, and sometimes it takes 3 hours because we just sit there and chat. Mm-hmm. We just talk about things and the reflection of the life, what they're going through. It's the whole process. It's not just the henna. That's what I like to offer. The therapeutic.
It definitely sounds like a therapeutic experience. Absolutely. So you've managed to parlay this, which you definitely don't call a hobby, into a career, and you've started a business. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing henna, again, on and off for friends and family ever since, I wasn't able to make it a profession before, but I was still connected. I was doing it for weddings. And I did my first bride when I was 16, when I was still in high school. Now my girls are growing up. I feel like I have some time I can, do something on the side. I started with the Celebrate Wallingford. Actually, that was my first ever festival, and that was last year. That's when I registered. I got my body art insurance.
So body art insurance. Yes. Okay, so on the business side, in addition to the art, in managing the business, so you've got designs, you've got clients.
Yes.
You have to balance.
Yes.
The business side. So tell me a little bit about that. You're nursing, you've got this business, and you have to figure out all the requirements because it is a health-related business. So what all goes into
it's
complying? I guess it would be a compliance.
That's actually was the biggest challenge throughout the whole process, the time management, and where do you prioritize? So then you have to set your priorities there. But again, as you said, like if you want it bad enough, you will do whatever it takes. So for me, there were times that I would do an event for 6 hours, and I would, straight from there, I would change into my scrubs and go work a 12-hour night shift. So there were times that I worked good 18 to 20 hours straight without any sleep because something I really wanted to add. But I feel like this is, for me, this is more like a therapy. This is my zen, really. This is
sounds like a de-stressor for you too. So you work a 12-hour shift.
Yep.
In whichever department, because you're a floating nurse, is that correct?
Yes.
And then so you come home and you're either designing, and then I understand your daughters let you practice.
Yes, I need a canvas all the time, especially they give me good ideas about what to add on my book too.
Oh, that's right, because you can present designs in your book that people can choose from, or through conversation you can create a design based on
exactly.
I mean,
because it's getting very popular in kids too, because it lasts for 2 weeks, so they can walk around with that image or whatever.
Longer than a temporary tattue, which is big at parties, and face paint is what, one night?
Exactly. They like to have their favorite cartoon character sometime. You know, Harry Potter is very famous. So this is something that my girls give me ideas. This, you should add this in your book. And that actually helps a lot. And, you know, those ideas, because they know what kids want at this age. So they're my helpers.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yes, you definitely got the true insight for that demographic. I mentioned commercial brands and versus making small batches with fresh ingredients, keeping them frozen. If I were to buy something off the shelf with preservatives, are there risks? What's the difference? Is it just a time saver? If I were to hold a girls' night, I just purchase a bunch of tubes from an online source. Can I run into trouble? Are there risks?
There are definitely many risks. As I mentioned, you know, henna should have very minimal ingredients. There are 3 or 4 ingredients and that's it. I always display it every time I do any kind of festival or any kind of event, so people know ahead of time what's in it. Even the essential oils, I warn them, you know, there could be sensitivity to that. But the one that the commercially made henna, those are shelf stable. And henna is not supposed to be shelf stable. It has to have some kind of preservative to make it shelf stable. For what I know, what I search in, they use PPD, which is a form of hair dye.
It's like a box hair dye that we see
Exactly.
in many drugstores. The same PPD.
Same PPD, yes.
Chemical is oftentimes found with
And
commercial
if you
henna.
read the box of hair dyes, you can see the difference. You know, it says do a patch test. Even the box that you buy from the stores, it tells you that do a patch test for allergies and see if you have it.
Okay.
And many people can't even dye their hair because they are allergic. Commercial henna can give you a bad reaction to the point it can cause a permanent scarring.
So like a chemical burn.
Like a chemical burn.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yes.
So take the time. Is that your advice?
Exactly, and ask. I mean, first of all, ask what's in your henna. Do you mix your henna? I have a checklist. Really, I try to display. Okay, your henna, if it's natural, it's not supposed to give you instant color. It's supposed to smell like essential oil. Earthy tone is not supposed
And this
to.
definitely does. I can smell the eucalyptus. I can smell the lavender. I feel like I'm in a massage room.
Awesome.
This is amazing.
The whole point of offering the natural product.
So if I were to go to a henna party, those are some of the things I should ask.
Exactly.
Is it natural? What are the ingredients? And if they give me just a handful and literally take it out of the freezer, basically, I know that I'm in good hands.
Yes.
Otherwise, I run the risk of a chemical burn or much like an off-the-shelf hair dye,
Yes.
which can cause sensitivities to someone's scalp, so the same or other part of the body that I'm getting the henna applied to.
Yeah, that's one thing that is really important to know, because since henna is getting very offered all over in theme parks, you know, all over the place. If you go by the beach, there's always some henna artist. You have to ask questions about those henna, like what they're putting in there. They should be able, there's no secret recipe. I always displayed, I put my ingredient list out to everybody. This is what's in my henna. If your artist cannot tell you what's in there, then you should be careful about it.
So it sounds like you should definitely be concerned.
Exactly.
Does this have a name, this particular design, or is this just something that you're just creating as you go?
It's really called like more like a Sangeet strip. Sangeet is one of the events, like a Mehndi night, Henna Night that I was talking about.
Henna
like
Night, pre-wedding.
Pre-wedding. So this is like a traditional, one of those design. People do put some kind of messages. People ask me about like if there is a meaning to something, the design you make. Most of the time there is no meaning. It's more just, intricacy, the flowers, but people do put some religious symbols like home signs, some cross, like they can, say things through henna.
What is the hardest design you've been asked to do? Is there something that you really had to take your time, consult with your clients? Because it sounds like you spent a good amount of time prior to applying the henna and really get to know your clients and what they're really looking for as a final outcome. Have you had something that was just really challenging for you?
I get requests now from people who wants to get permanent tattoos. they want to do a trial run.
Oh, okay.
So those images, sometimes they create their own images. Sometimes they are really complex. So those are the one, I mean, I do henna freehand for the most part, but there are times that I have to create a stencil to kind of do exactly what they want, because this is like something they wanted to do a trial touch.
That would make sense, because then you can just do a test. And so you're really looked at to duplicate and really pull in your illustration skills.
Exactly.
So that comes back to you.
I was approached by many people to create something like that. They told me they know exactly what to change afterwards. You know, they know the placement, if they wanted, reduce the size, if they wanted to make any changes. And they were like, that was perfect, because, we walked around with it for 2 weeks and we know exactly what to do.
I think that's a great idea, because tattoos are permanent. And, you're really not sure. It sounds like a good idea until you get it. And I think this is the way to go. And then you can change it up. The business is going well. You're a mom of 2. You're a nurse. So you definitely have the multi-career balancing. Being a mom is a full-time job too.
Oh, definitely. Balancing everything, that's definitely challenging. But again, for henna, I feel like I have to do this for me more than anything. Ever since I started doing henna, actually many people ask me, where are you going to fit that in? Like, how are you going to manage that? Because I was still working. I finished, my BSN like recently, those 2 young kids, running the house, all that was going on. But once I started doing this, I felt like I was able to focus more on other things in life as well, because it just gave me the time that I need to relax. That's the time, like, when I'm doing henna, all the thought process, all the things that calms me down to the point where I feel like, okay, now
You're focused.
I feel rejuvenated, basically.
You're definitely rejuvenated. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a great word. So you're able to focus, clear your head, and then you're able to tackle all the other things that are waiting.
And I don't miss anything else. I mean, I don't know when the last time I watched Netflix. I would rather do this and doodle.
Well, that sounds amazing, and this looks amazing, and I thank you, Adila. So I'm going to sign off for now.
All right. Well, thank you
so
for having
much.
me.
I can't wait to see how it's going to dry, and then I get to keep this for 2 weeks, really?
Yes.
All right.
Yep, definitely.
So I'm going to be showing this off.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, Adila Khan from The Art of Henna. And I'm Linda Marie Colon, doing the most as the host for Making It Artisan Stories. Catch us next time.
Thank you
so much. This is great.